So as you can see right here, we are at the EIDL application. If you guys follow the link in the description below, it will lead you to this exact page here. So the first step in this process is to verify your eligible entity. And so the way that you would do this is you would need to choose one of these options here that best applies to your business. In most cases, it is going to be the third option, which is applicant is an individual who operates under a sole proprietorship with or without employees or as an independent contractor. This is what a lot of people are applying under and getting approved. In fact, I would say 95% of the people that I have assisted in the application process for the EIDL program have applied under this third option. The reason is because if you're somebody that does not have an LLC or an EIN number, this would be the best option for you and the option that is most applicable to you in your circumstances. Once you select your verification, you will then have to review and check all of the following. It says applicant must review and check the following. If applicant is unable to check all of the following, applicant is not an eligible entity. These are just standard questions, things like applicant is not engaged in any illegal activity, no principal of applicant with a 50% or greater ownership interest is more than 60% delinquent on child support, applicant does not present live sexual performances, so things like strip clubs, applicant does not derive more than 1/3 of gross annual revenue from legal gambling, applicant is not in the business of lobbying, and basically applicant is not a government entity or a Congress member. Chances are you probably can check all of these options, but if you can't, then you're not eligible for the EIDL program. Once you click all of these options, you're simply going to click next. Now this next step is where I think a lot of people get stuck because it says business legal name. Now, if you are somebody who is applying under a independent contractor, meaning you do not have a proper LLC, then what you will put here is just your name. So in this case, I will put Aubrey Janet. Next is your trade name. So a trade name is basically, a lot of companies will have an LLC, but then their business will be known as something different. And so a trade name is kind of that different name, the brand name, rather than the LLC name. If you are applying under an independent contractor and you are not applying under an LLC, then again, you would just put your own name. Next is your EIN or your social security number. If you have an LLC, then you'll want to apply under your EIN. It's important to remember that if you apply under an EIN and under an LLC, then your banking information has to match that business. Meaning that if you have an LLC and you have an EIN, you cannot put your personal banking information for the deposit information. It has to be your business checking account. And so if you have an LLC, but for whatever reason you don't have a business checking account, then I would probably just end up using your social security number to ensure that you get the deposit. And then next, you're gonna click organization type. So it goes through sole prop, C Corp, S Corp, general partnership, limited liability partnership, things like that. And if you are somebody that does not have a proper LLC, then you'll want to click independent contractor. Is the applicant a nonprofit? No. Is the applicant a franchise? No. Next, and this is important because this is where a lot of people end up getting denied, is gross revenue for 12 months prior to the date of the disaster. So what was your gross revenue? Remember, gross revenue is the number before expenses. So it's kind of the bigger number without expenses and costs taken into account. For this example, we'll just put 50,000. Next is your cost of goods sold. So your cost of goods are oftentimes referred to as COG. The cost of goods sold needs to be less than the revenue for the 12-month period. If your cost of goods sold is more, chances are you're going to be denied. Now, of course, you'll want to put the actual figure that reflects your business. And so if your business cost of goods is higher than your revenue, then there really isn't anything that you can do about it. You should still put it here. You may still be approved for the grant, but chances are you will be denied the loan on that basis. For this example, we will just put $20,000, which is saying that my business made $50,000 last year, and the cost of goods to make that $50,000 cost $20,000, meaning that there was a profit of $30,000. The next question is a question regarding rental properties. Rental properties, residential and commercial only, lost rents due to disaster. Of course, this would only apply to you if you were into real estate investing. So I'm just going to leave that blank for this example. Nonprofit or agricultural enterprise cost of operations, again, only applies if you have an agricultural business. Compensation from other sources received as a result of the disaster. If that applies to you, you would put it, but it is not a required field, so you can just leave it blank. Provide brief description of other compensation sources. Again, it's not a required field. I would just leave that blank. All of these fields here that I am describing are fields that I have left blank for both myself and the people that I've been working with. Next is your primary business address. Again, if you are somebody who is applying under an independent contractor, then you would just put your personal address here. Next is your business phone number. And again, if you don't have a business, you would just put your personal phone number here. Next is your business email. And this is the email that you will be getting the portal invites into and various other SBA information sent to you. So you will want to make sure that you have access to this email relatively easily because you will get updates sent to it. Next is the date business was established. So you'll want to put whatever date the business was established in. Keep in mind that if your business was established after January 31st, 2020, then you are not eligible. And so you want to make sure to kind of keep that in mind while you're applying. Current business ownership. So if you are somebody that had a business and you bought the business or you acquired the business or whatever the case is, you would then want to put when you became the owner of that business there. Business activity. So what type of business are you involved in? I will put, you can put anything. I'll just say transportation, but you would want to, of course, do what applies to you in your business. Detailed business activity below. So you would want to then go into more detail here. I'll say limousine and transportation. And the number of employees. So as of January 31st, 2020. And remember, count yourself as an employee. So if it's just you, you're an independent contractor, then put 1. If you have 2 employees, then put 2. If you have 3, then put 3. Whatever the case is. For me, I will put 1 right here. And then you're going to click next. Okay, so once you click next, you will then be brought to business owners information. Right underneath business owners, you can see here, it says, is your business owned by a business entity? You'll want to click no. And so, or yes, depending on whatever the case is for you. But if you're an independent contractor, then the answer would be no. And so make sure to select that before going forward because it will not let you move on until you select that. So then you'll just have to enter your owner information. So things like first name, last name. Again, if you're an independent contractor, it would just be your information over again. So this is kind of where the application gets a little redundant. You'd enter your mobile phone, your title, ownership percentage, email. Make sure it's an email that you have access to. And then you'll want to enter your social security number, your date of birth, your address, things like that. And then if you have more than one owner with your business, then you would click add additional owner. If not, you would just move on. And then from here, you're going to do additional information. In the past year, has this business or listed owner been convicted of a felony? You would want to answer yes or no. Is the applicant or any listed owner currently suspended or debarred? No. Are you presently subject to an indictment, criminal information, arraignment, blah, blah, blah. You again click no or whatever would apply to you. Then you click if anyone assisted you in completing this application, whether you pay a fee for this service or not, this person must enter their information below. I would just click no because it is going to be asking them to contact the SBA. I would just click no on that. Then you would say, I would like to be considered for an advance of up to $10,000. I cannot stress enough how important it is for you to have that box checked. Double check it 3 times before you click submit. I have had a lot of people contact me saying that they applied for the EIDL grant and they did not check that box, and as a result, they didn't get the grant. So it is such an easy thing to do, but it can totally ruin your application. Then once you've checked the box, you're simply going to type in your bank name, your account number, and your routing number. Again, remember that if you are applying under an LLC, this bank information has to be a business checking account, and it has to be a business checking account under the business name. If you do not have this, then your grant and your loan will be denied on the basis of unverifiable information. Then once you are done with that, you will just click the I hereby certify under penalty of perjury under the law of the United States that the above is true and correct. You'll click that, and then you're going to click next. But then once you click next, that is literally it. I mean, the application is super easy. It's super straightforward. All you have to do is know some basic information on yourself and of your business, and that's literally all you need.